everybody. Welcome to the MXGP of Flanders, round 14 of the FIA Motocross World Championship. We are in Lommel in Belgium, or hashtag Lommelwood, if you like. Jorge Herlings is the self-professed king of sand, but it's Jorge Prado who lines up today with the most Grand Prix wins around this Lommel circuit. He also won the MXGP of Sardinia earlier this year, and after that victory, Prado then had the audacity to call himself the king of sand. Prado has 4 wins here to Herlings 3. Tim Geiser also has 3 victories. And last year's victor, Roman Bevra, is also a 2-time winner here at Lommel. So on paper at least, this has the makings of a very interesting Grand Prix. My name's Paul Malin, Jason Thomas alongside me from Fly Racing. We just had a fantastic MX2 race. Without giving anything away in the results, Jason, if race 1 was anything to go by from MX2, and MXGP is anything like that, then we are going to be in for an absolute, I don't know, it's just going to be mesmerizing.
Yeah, I don't know the translation, but buckle up, because this track is treacherous, and yeah, almost double the size of the engine, a lot more weight, and these motorcycles are going to be a lot tougher to handle. These guys are in for a challenge.
Well, the racetrack is challenging. They did not groom the track overnight, just the jump faces. They'll be out there now fixing the jump faces once more. But the racetrack there, 75 metres into turn 1. Over the finish line, that triggers sector 1. Bottom of your screen is where sector 1 ends. Sector 2, just the other side of the track, into that left around turn 12. On the exit of the long sweeper is where sector 3 ends and sector 4 begins. And we've got a fantastic crowd in here as well. But with the warm weather, a nice cool breeze, a brutal racetrack, it's going to be a very, very physically challenging racetrack. Well, last weekend, of course, we didn't show you the report that we would have brought you, so let's go and take a look at that in more detail. Delvintor Alvarisi was recently in his home Grand Prix in Lombok. He was joined by his brother as well, Mohamed Arsenio Al-Ghifari. Let's see how their journey to MXGP began.
Sunshine. I grew up in Indonesia. For the last few years, I started going to Europe to race with JM Honda. I stayed there for like 3 months in a year because yeah, it's a limitation from the visa. And then yeah, I do the same again this year.
Yeah, I didn't race last year. I still 125.
Yeah, he just moved up to 250 this year. And actually, like last weekend, it's the first time we raced together. Yeah. So it's yeah, kind of special for us. Nice. So always, the brother is always a big competition with everything, but yeah, it's a special one.
Who's the fastest rider?
Between us two.
Yeah.
Me. Eh?
No.
Yeah, now in front of the home crowd and my family, my friends also here. And yeah, with him racing, it's a nice feeling. I never thought the MXGP would come to our country because yeah, I watched the GP from back in the days. Yeah, I never thought they will come here, and I will have a chance to ride with them. So it's yeah, it's amazing. Too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah, maybe we try again. Let's see how it is. How is the maximum? Oh, this is hard. Oh, I can only do one. Yeah. This is, yeah, maximum. Yeah, we didn't have more. I was already watching some videos of motocross with my father when I was a kid. I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old. And then one time we go on a family trip. We see one car, open fan, and there is some small bikes in there. And then my father just go in the side and then tell them to stop and to ask how can I get this bike. And then yeah, they exchange the number, and then we go to the shop, and then that's how I started riding. Yeah.
So some behind the scenes there from behind the gate, and good to catch up with Delventor Alvarez, his workshop is just there on the right-hand side of the screen for JM Honda Racing. Anyway, let's go down to Lisa Leyland. One of the riders she caught up with just a few moments ago was the rider who's been injured since round 2 Spain. Monster Yamaha rider, Maxime Renault. Let's hear what he has to say, the world champion.
So we're almost ready for the first MXGP race of the day, and joining me we have a rider that we haven't seen for too long. It's Monster Energy Yamaha Factory MXGP rider Maxime Renault. Maxime, I actually saw you briefly in Lockett. Now you're here, but you're not racing. Just give us an update.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here as a spectator. It feels really weird and not the greatest feeling, but yeah, obviously the conditions are rough, you know, like I was saying, and yeah, not really a track you want to ride as the first time. So I'm like, okay, I'm not so bad as a spectator here, but no, like the foot is getting better now, so looking forward to be back on the races for sure.
Okay. Are you back on the bike yet?
Not yet. We plan to do some riding this week, actually, like very easy, you know, some corner track or something, but just to test out the foot a little bit, see where we are at, and then yeah, the plan is to just build up from here and see where we end up.
So you're not giving us any promises about coming back before the end of the year. Can I get any more information about that?
I'm keeping the mystery, you know, like it's nice to be the little mysterious boy, you know. So.
Maxime, we go back a long way. I mean, no one's even listening. Tell me when you're going to come back.
No, okay. I mean, in my head, you know, I plan to do some GPs under the season, but you know, like it's always in riders' head, you know, like we always want to rush things a little bit, but definitely won't be back if I'm not 100%. So I want to have my foot really back to shape. Preparing also next season will be very important, you know. So yeah, let's see. Obviously, the rush to come back racing is here, but I will take my time.
Totally understandable. Enjoy the day. Thanks, Maxime. Okay, let's grab a few words with Kevin Hogmo. Mainly, Kevin, one of the toughest tracks of the year, and you had a great result yesterday, P5. Were you expecting that, or perhaps surprised yourself a little?
Yeah, I surprised myself a little. I'm based in the south of France, so I had 1 day of practice in Bergame this week. And then last race, yeah, was in Kegums and Sardinia on the sand, and last time before that was with FNH last year in October training. So maybe I was a little bit better than I expected, but I just got into a good rhythm, and yeah, then it makes it a little bit easier.
But honestly, Kevin, we saw in that first MX2 race, a lot of the Belgian riders who know this track inside out, you can practice here as many times as you want, but when you come here on a race day, doing a GP weekend, the jumps are higher, there's more people about, the intensity's up. It's a totally different ballgame, isn't it?
Yeah, the track is completely different from training and race, so it's not really comparable. Only the ground is the same. The track and the bumps is all different, so yeah.
We'll enjoy the first race. Thank you, Kevin Hogmo there. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for MXGP Race 1.
Yeah, Kevin Hogmo rode absolutely blinding in the qualifying race yesterday. He looked aggressive this morning in warm-up as well, but what can he do around the racetrack today? And if you are watching Behind the Gate, of course, that episode with Delventor Alvarez was from the Titans, one of the latest ones we've got there. The new one will be out on Tuesday, by the way, which will feature the Czech Republic Grand Prix. The calm before the storm. And there was a storm in MX2 Race 1 a few moments ago. Let's take a look at what happened in the RAM qualifying highlights in the MXGP category yesterday. We were expecting fireworks, but we didn't quite get them, but there was some close, intense racing. Went a little bit like this. All the big hitters towards the inside gates. Jorge Prado, who else seems to have got his start mojo back again, because it was he who rounded out the first couple of corners leading. Look at Conrad Muse here, tucked in right at the back there.
It's not ideal, Paul. It's not ideal for the starting position there.
End of first lap, though, he came round in 13th place, and he carved his way to an eventual 8th position, the multi-British champion.
Yeah, when like you said, stuck to the inside. You see him right there, right in mid-pack, and even with a mistake there. But interesting first corner because it bends all the way back around on itself.
Well, your leader was Jorge Prado. Tim Geiser was right there in second. We had Isaac Gifting, Calvin Verlandren, Andrea Bonacorsi. A couple of positions further back, you had Jeffrey Herlings just there in the background behind the 259, I think it was, of Glenn Coldenoff. But Herlings was quickly on the charge. With this move on Isaac Gifting, that put him up into 4th, and then he went after Calvin Verlandren, and it was an easy pass on the South African at the end of the straight.
Easy for you to say. Looked pretty difficult there, but he was using that inside line pretty consistently, and he was charging all afternoon.
Then, just look here. Kevin Horgmo. He'd found his way past Fevre and then quickly past Bonacorsi. And what I say, that was a great ride. That got him up into, what, 6th place at that time? Herlings then down the inside of Geiser, and it looked like Geiser was probably just holding back a little bit.
Yeah, it seemed like he sensed he couldn't go with these two, and why waste a bunch of energy? If you feel like 3rd is inevitable, don't waste a lot of energy in 3rd, and he dropped back accordingly.
Yeah, and that was for 2nd position, and that was around about the halfway point. Jorge Prado was about 5 seconds further up the track at this point. Tim Geiser, as we said, just happy to sit there in 3rd. He got a decent gap over Valana, and Horgmo still had to make a pass on Brian Bogers, and that was it, coming right here with about 4 to go. That got the Ship to Cycle Honda Motor Blues SR rider number 24 into 5th. Bogers came home in 6th. His teammate didn't finish, though, Glenn Coldenoff. This is as close as Jeffrey Herlings got to taking the lead on the final lap, but Jorge Prado held firm, and there were just 1 or 2 corners on the track where he was a little bit lighter and more graceful on entry and exit compared to Jeffrey Herlings, and that was the main difference, the tail of the tape.
Yeah, they certainly had their sections of the racetrack. We'll see how that shapes up today, if that same dynamic stays in place, or if either of them were able to make adjustments overnight in the warm-up session this morning to maybe address those.
Well, Jorge Prado did hang on for his 4th Ram qualifying win, so he's on pole for the 4th time this year on that Red Bull Gas. Herlings was 2nd, Geiser, Valana and Horgmo, he top 5. So slightly different weather conditions today. That guy there telling Jeffrey, no, go gate 1, inside. Could almost be Italian.
Yeah.
With those hand gestures.
This guy knows a couple things about how to get a good start here as well.
Just the 9 times world champion, Antonio Cairoli. You know what? 182 race wins, 179 podiums, 94 of those as a winner.
Is that all?
That's all. Next, championship standings then. Tim Geiser continues to lead the championship chase, although Jorge Prado gained a couple of points on him, and Jeffrey Herlings gained a point on him as well, so not too much change in the battle for the top, but a crucial round. And if you're a neutral, we said this in commentary yesterday, we said it in the studio show, if you are a neutral, the neutral person wants Herlings to win, riders to get in between Geiser and Prado, just to bring the championship a little bit closer with 6 rounds to go after this. Here's how the riders line up. Prado on pole for the 4th time. Herlings goes alongside him 2nd. Then Geiser, Valana and Horgmo, Bogers, Roman Fevre, Conrad Muse. What a great ride that was, as we said, right at the back through the first turn. Smart through the first couple of corners to an eventual 8th place on his Honda. Bonacorsi and Siwa go to the line next. Then we've got Ferrato. He'll be pleased with that on the standing construct Honda. And Brent Van Donnick, the only Belgian to score points this year in MXGP.
Pretty shocking stat there. I think throughout history that would be very rare.
Well, when you used to think of riders that were in Grand Prix at the time with Everts, Bervoorts, Smets, you know, just to name but a few. Tim Geiser focusing on the gate ahead. Jeffrey Herlings, he needs to come out firing on all cylinders when the gate drops and be pure fire. He cannot afford to let Jorge Prado get the advantage to the point where he's having to drag himself up onto the rear wheel for the first 20 minutes of the race, as he had to do in that Ram qualifier.
Yeah, and that's both of their strategies, right? Jorge wants to do exactly what Jeffrey wants to keep him from doing. Only one of those can win out. But again, remember, this race is very, very long. So if Jeffrey can stay close, an opportunity may present itself late in the race.
Roman Fevre, 2-time winner around here, including here last year. The number 3 still trying to find his way back after that thumb injury. 7th in the qualifying race yesterday. Can he affect? Is he going to be one of those people that will get in between the battle of the top 3 in the championship? Or is it going to be the top 3 fighting over for the top 3 positions? We'll soon find out. 30 minutes plus 2. MXGP race 1. Kevin Horgmo, gate number 2, alongside Jeffrey Herlings. And Jorge Prado, a few positions further over there, next to the number 3. The Fly Racing 15-second board goes up. That'll turn to 5. Jeremy Siwa pumping himself up. He's wedged there between Geiser and Prado, hoping for a little bit of a pick-me-up to try and grab that whole shot himself.
Three great starters all next to each other.
5-second board has turned. Gates drop here. Who's it going to be that charges in? Well, Prado's given himself a lot of room there, and he does. And Fevre gets bumped to the outside. Herlings here in yellow to the outside here. He's in around about fourth. He tried this yesterday. This time it works a little bit better for him. He emerges in fourth place, but it's Jorge Prado with his 13th foxhole shot of the season. Seewer there in second, Valandra in third, Herlings fourth, Geiser fifth, and then Bogus there in sixth place. It could only be him because his teammate was all the way to the outside, gate number 34.
And Jeffrey was so fortunate there. Really poor jump, very inside, but he was very far back. There was contact in the first corner that opened up a window right for Jeffrey to go up the inside, and he made the most of it. So sometimes it can go your way. It certainly did that time.
Qualifying lap for Jorge Prado here, trying to get some distance over Seewer, Valandra as they come into view. Then Herlings, then Bogus, then Geiser. Hawkmo to the outside, then Fevre. That was a good recovery for him. He's in around about 8th place ahead of Paturel and Muse, your boy.
Yeah, he's made his return to MXGP. He's making the most of it this weekend. He's been quick all weekend long.
Herlings up to third. He finds his way past the 91, the Swiss Smurf, Jeremy Seewer. Looks like he has started on all cylinders, Jeffrey Herlings, as he quickly moves into that third place.
Well, and he wants to make sure that he doesn't watch Jorge Prado ride off into the distance and have to close down a 10 or 12 second gap again.
That was why, though. Look, Seewer all the way to the outside, and that helped Valandra and Herlings go through. So Seewer was there in that second position. He was doubling this inside in the ramp qualifying race yesterday, and Kaz Volk in the EMX250 race was doing that as well. The only riders do that so far today, actually. So I wonder if that will be up the sleeve of any of the riders as this race starts to pan out. Over the Liqui Moly, waves there. Herlings looking for a way around the outside. No way through here. Brian Bogus, he's a former Grand Prix winner around here. He's got his sights set on the number 91 of Jeremy Seewer. Can he affect the results here today?
Well, and for Jeffrey, thinking at where he's at in this race, if he can quickly dispatch of Valandra, which he's been unable to do so far, he will then be able to manage that gap between he and Prado. As it is now, he's almost having the gap dictated to him, so he's got to be really careful in this position.
Brian Bogus making a mistake there as he came out of that turn. Geiser and Fevre all over the back of him now, putting himself under pressure in that 5th place. Geiser is to the outside. Here comes Fevre. Are they going to bang bars? Well, he was a bit gentlemanly there. Doesn't want to. He's respecting the championship position, I'm sure, in that respect.
Well, think about how many battles Geiser and Fevre have been through together, and I don't think you're going to see them, either one of them, pull too much of an aggressive move, especially here battling mid-pack. They understand that the fight is forward, and slowing each other down here doesn't help that.
Geiser, heavy landing, but he goes around the outside here. It's going to be tight on the inside. He knows he's got to get, well, he was going to get squeezed there, so he had to back out of the challenge. Fevre dances away around the outside. When you have that momentum, what, 3-4 bike lengths gained there from the number 3 in that moment?
Yeah, and unfortunately for Geiser, he had a lot of momentum around the outside, but he gets squeezed off there and can't utilize it.
Yeah, that was just a replay there. He was already up the inside of him over that triple just after the finish line jump. Geiser knew it as well, left the door open.
You know what's interesting there, that pass versus what we've seen in prior races where riders slowed down to almost block. Fevre understood that he didn't have to slow down. He could just execute the corner fully. It would allow Geiser room as well. So it's just the subtle differences with that experience and age bring.
Jeremy Seewer still hanging on to 4th. Bogus there on that Fantic Factory MXGP machine. He's in 5th. Where is Koldenhoff? Koldenhoff, bearing in mind he went to the gate 34th. He's up to 11th place. So he would have been on a disadvantage all the way to the outside on that 259. But it's his teammate who's there in 5th at the moment, edging out the rider here in green, Romain Fevre, and Geiser in 7th. And this is what we needed at the top of the championship, with Geiser, who's the championship leader by 30-odd points. This is Herlings going past Valandra, and he's now up in the 2nd place on that Red Bull KTM.
Well, look at that lap time that Prado dropped the last lap. Almost 3 full seconds quicker than anybody else on the racetrack. 6 seconds quicker than the next best lap behind Seewer on back. So Prado clearly understands what he's trying to do. He wants to check out now while the opportunity presents itself, and you likely saw Herlings respond to that quickly.
2:07.8 with the fastest time himself.
There you go.
So Prado went 2:07.994 and then a 2:08.01. Herlings a 2:07.801 this time around, as he's only got one thing on his mind: to reduce that 4-second gap sooner rather than later. Calvin Valandra is going to say, you know what, I'll latch on to you for a couple of laps to put some distance between myself and Seewer, and leave those guys to battle with Bogus and Fevre here. But Tim Geiser is going to be picking up what, 14 points to Prado's 25. That changes things quite drastically. You have 2 races like that potentially. That does tighten up, which is what we want as a neutral.
Yeah, and for the guys at the front, you know, we're watching this battle mid-pack. They're just going flat out. But for the guys at the front, there's a lot of signaling that goes on, right? Prado dropped to 207. Jeffrey saw that, responded, I have to go now, right? And you'll see in the middle parts of the race, do they check up a little bit, drop their lap times, and just kind of hold them there? Then that final push at the end, right? And they're always responding to each other's lap times. And Prado is trying to build a gap here. It's going to be really important, I should say, for Jeffrey to keep that gap down.
This was Fevre going past Tim Geisert. This is another angle over the side, over the triple. And then he was over on that right-hand side. He already knew that he could see a flash of the green fender. He went as high as he could, just sat up. Fevre goes through, takes 6th place. Prado, 6.3 seconds clear at the moment. 2:08.0. This is the lap time from previously. So Herlings, he made a mistake in one of the sectors. Yeah, lost 2 seconds in sector 2, pushing, and lost a second in sector 1. So well, that's why the gap has gone to 6.2.
Well, and you look at the gap, like, yes, it was slower, but it's almost on pace with the rest of the top 10. You can, to me, it speaks a little bit more to Prado's pace and where he's trying to build the gap now, so he can then manage it later on. You see Jeffrey falling a little bit further back here, so there will be significant portions of the race. It just seems like Prado's trying to put his best laps in right this second.
One rider not lining up for this MXGP race, Jorge Prado. He came back this weekend, his home Grand Prix. The Monster Energy Yamaha rider qualified in 19th, but decided not to go racing today. Doesn't feel like he's at the level that he expected to be or hoped to be for this comeback. So not sure when we'll see Jorge Prado back again, but smart move probably on a venue that he's never lost at. You need to be 100% if you're here.
Yeah, even 100% may not be enough for a day like today. This is one of the most challenging racetracks I've ever seen. Thankfully, the weather is cooperating, so that gives the guys a little bit of a break. But as far as the ask on the body for this track, I don't know how much more difficult it gets than this.
Yeah, you have to be 100% and still be prepared to dig deeper than ever, because it is brutal. Right, Fevre cutting down the inside of Boger's textbook move around this Lommel track. The number 3 moves up into 5th place. Boger's fights back, though. Equally impressive by the Dutchman. He is being very stubborn, isn't he?
Yeah, well, these are conditions he thrives in. We've seen him be incredibly proficient here before, so for a rider like Romain Fevre, I'm sure he fancies himself dispatching Boger's quickly and moving forward, but not so easy.
Yeah, Fevre down the inside, stayed low off the jump, and from there, he just had to control that inside. That's exactly what he did. He is now into 5th. Boger's down to 6th.
And Jeremy Stewart's been putting in a nice little ride. He had a really tough Saturday, and it hasn't been his best season, to be honest, but fighting back so far here on Sunday.
Jeffrey Herlings struggling with the pace of Prado at the moment, as Geisert finds his way around the outside of Boger's, picks off another position, and therefore another point. He moves up into 6th. But the gap, look, 1st and 2nd, 10 seconds between Prado and Herlings. He is riding on autopilot at the moment. Yeah, are we seeing the new King of Sand?
Well, you see the gap. The last up around, Jeffrey Herlings was in the screen. This time we didn't see him at all. So Prado is doing exactly what he set out to do here. But you have to start worrying a little bit about Tim Geisert's positioning here. He's up to 6th now, which is okay, but when you're thinking about big gaps of points, which can really bring this championship closely together, these are the types of races where that can happen very quickly.
Yeah, it was down to 34, wasn't it, at the start of the day?
So,
and now you've got Prado in a 25-point position. You've got Geisert in a 15-point position. There's a 10-point swing, so we're down to 24 points all of a sudden.
Yeah, it can happen quickly. So the question here is, we saw how strong Jeffrey was late in the race. He could close down the lead, seemingly when we didn't think it was possible. What lead is safe here? It's up to 11 seconds now. We're 10 minutes in. Where will Prado feel safe, or is there a number that is safe on a racetrack like this?
I think if he just keeps on doing what he's doing and sees that gap going, he won't need to do a lot, will he? Just maintain that focus. And if he's comfortable pushing that pace that he's at, or are these, you know, the intended sort of qualifying laps, if you like, 2:08s to everybody else's 2:12s? The other point of this as well, the last 10 minutes, do we see that pace settle down and Jeffrey up his pace and bring it back? But he can't afford to get, look at that, it's 11 seconds already.
Yeah, that is what's the number that's safe, right? Yeah. I don't know if 11 seconds is it. Is Jeffrey looking at the lead now going, no problem, we have lots of time, I can close that back down? Or is he just uncomfortable and this is all he has to offer at the moment?
Talking to Jeremy Seawer after the Ram qualifying race yesterday before we left the circuit last night, and he said the track was strange. There was a lot of more hard edge bumps, but still very kind of greasy and unpredictable. And I think that, he said it was difficult to find a good flow, a good rhythm. Well, if that's him, the other riders we saw making mistakes yesterday were in exactly that same boat.
Yeah, we've heard that same phrase throughout the weekend is if you're not finding your rhythm and finding your flow on this racetrack, it will punish you. And yeah, it's been so, I don't know how you find it. It's been pretty elusive for most of the riders, but it seems to be critical.
Down the inside of his teammate, nudges him wide as well. Or was it just a case of he just ran out of track and just bounced off the side of the track? Either way, he's lost 2 positions because Febvre goes through, Geiser goes through. So Febvre now 4, Geiser 5, Seawer down to 6th. Watch this here. Just runs it down the inside. Did they touch? No, he just ran out of real estate there.
Yeah, nothing too aggressive. Maybe not the best move for your teammate, but nothing too over the top.
And Jorge Prado. Yeah, the gap 10.5 seconds now. 2:09.8, 2:10.2 for Prado and Herlings respectively. Just looking at the splits there. Was there at any point where Herlings was quicker? Yeah, sector 4 by 0.8. And all of a sudden, Prado responds the fastest time in Sector 1, 31.7. So that's from the finish line to turn 7, which is after the city jump, left and then right. Yeah. Jeffrey a full second down, so back out to 11.6. And he's got his hands full and his work cut out, hasn't he?
Yeah, there will be a line here where I think Prado gets to a point where, because he's pushing, he's going flat out right now trying to build a gap. He's going to get to a place where he either has to back the pace down because he's reached a maximum, or he feels comfortable with the lead where it's at and thinks he can manage it from there. We're not quite there yet, but we will reach that point.
This is a smart ride from Tim Geiser. This is Febvre just coming in a little bit heavy there, and Geiser, but this is a smart ride from Geiser because you know what? He's latched onto Roman Febvre. He's in 5th position. He knows he's one of the fittest riders in MXGP. He knows it's probably not his favourite Grand Prix, although he won in Czech Republic last week on his least favourite track, probably. But he's just going to keep chipping away, and he's just thinking about riding, going through the motions, not making any mistakes, and not losing any, too many points. The further up the field he gets, if he finds his way past Febvre, it's going to be 18. He's already found his way past Seawer, so he's gained another point there anyway. So we were talking about a 10-point swing a moment ago, but he's reducing that and he's working on Febvre now to reduce it even more.
Well, if things aren't going your way, panic will not help. That is one thing, especially on a racetrack as punishing for mistakes as this racetrack is. You just have to take what it gives you. If that's only a 3rd or a 4th on the day, so be it. But don't turn a 3rd or a 4th into a 12th because you can't manage your emotions in that situation.
This racetrack, unlike anything else in the world, of course, even in the US, I guess the deepest track you have is Southwick, which I heard 1 or 2 commentators this year explain as
not even
about
comparable.
Latvia, Kegum, something like that, not that deep. When you guys in the US watch Lommel on the TV at home and you see it like this, even the pro riders, what do they think? Do they just think, wow, man, I'd love to ride there, or I'd hate to ride there, it looks brutal, or it looks right up my street? Is there anybody there in the US that you think would find this a challenge that they were willing to accept? There was a lot of talk of Eli Tomac possibly riding this GP earlier on in the year, but that's coming from the US, not from us over here.
I don't think that our current crop of racers on the racetracks they practice on and the conditions they're used to would find much success today. It's just a very different thing. It doesn't mean that talent is less or skills. It's just the application of those skill sets, being used to these conditions. We've seen it at Motocross of the Nations here in the past. It's a very specific thing. The discipline is much different. And I think most of the American riders would recognize that and appreciate that. And they would just, watch this race and be impressed by how fast these riders are able to go around here.
Tim Geiser working on Roman Febvre still as he looks to find his way into 4th position. The Honda man, Team HRC there, the championship leader in red. Still finding Roman Febvre a bit of a roadblock at the moment, but Febvre will close down the door here. You can go high and wide, but that inside line seems to be working a little bit better. Yesterday you could wheelie and hop onto that Monster Energy brow and kind of almost kick off the top of it, but not able to do that at the moment. A rider who was impressive yesterday, Kevin Horgmo, he's in 8th place at the moment, lapping quicker than Bogue is ahead of him. Similar time to Seawer. We've got Wave Jellos over there in the corner. Was that one of our top guys or not? It was through one of these next corners here. didn't hear a roar of the crowd, so it couldn't have been anybody specific.
Yeah, and this track bends over. It could have been just one of those. Yeah, but the track bends across itself several times, so it could have been a separate section of the racetrack.
So Prado, 9.8, and for the first time in a few laps, Herlings getting the quicker lap time by 2 whole seconds, 2:10.7, 2:08.7. So he's going to work now with 14.5 minutes to go.
Down to 8 seconds now. So we may have reached that line where I said, okay, Jeffrey realizes it can't go any further than this. I have to start responding now. And I was looking for that moment. Like, that was the pivotal moment. And we're not sure if he'll be able to close back down from where it got to 12 down to 0, but he's already cut 4 seconds out in 2 laps. So a clear response back down to 2:08s for Herlings. That's really what we were looking for, to see if he could stem that gap going the wrong way and start swinging the pendulum back the other way.
Yeah, he had 2 green sectors, sector 1 and 3 that time around. So best sectors 1, best sectors 3. They weren't the fastest of the race. I don't think you'll get those now, although stranger things have happened in the past around here. But Geiser, again, tried this a couple of laps ago outside. He knows he's going to get pinched to the inside. That's exactly what happens. And again, look at the 3 or 4 bike length gain from Romain Febvre.
Well, let's just think about the leaders they're swinging between 2:08s and 2:10s. These two are doing 2:14s,
yeah.
Right? It just shows you the difference. And these are former world champions lapping at 2:14, the current championship points leader,
and a
2-time winner here of the race, right? It just shows you the pace of, if you're 1% off your best self here, or if you're at the front, you're talking 4 or 5 seconds a lap.
And Geiser 3 wins here, and Herlings into the side of the back marker. That is the risk around here. Herlings out of second place. The speed that he was coming through there as well. Back markers in their own race, and he'll shake his head. And that was just a crazy moment in this race. And that could have left him seriously injured.
Yeah, tough break there. Really nothing he could do. You know, the back markers crossing lines there. You see him go from outside all the way across to the inside.
Herlings should have read that a little bit better as well, though, but he is focused on that. Probably didn't see the rider to the outside there. I don't know. I'm on the fence as to how that came about, but that's cost him time. He's now 15 seconds down, and hopefully he's got no knocks there, because the whack that he came into the side of the bike there, that back marker, hopefully it was just more bike on bike, and he got slung away from the metal.
Unfortunately, I've been in that position as the back marker many times. You simply cannot cross 4 lines and change your trajectory like that. Everything about that is predictability.
Yeah.
You want the lead rider to know exactly what you're doing before you do it. That was the opposite of that, right? So as much as I hate to say it, that was 100% on the back marker. You cannot change lines that abruptly.
But at the same time, you know, Jeffrey was probably about 3 seconds further back when he came into that corner, and then obviously down to nothing. Shows the pace that he's pushing there. But yeah, the back marker, you know, yeah, you're right. Shouldn't have carved, but where were the blue flags in that moment?
Right.
Maybe they were there just the other side of the jump before we saw that image.
Yeah, and I always, and myself, I've been in that situation. And once the leader comes through, you have to be on alert. More leaders are coming. They're coming by. So just stick to your line. No matter what your line is, just make sure you stay there. That way the rider coming from behind you that's going 15 seconds a lap faster than you, they know where you're going to be before you get there.
Yeah, he's just pulling the tear off there, but he was shaking his hand, and I'm not sure if he was shaking the hand because the hand's injured, the left hand. I think it's more he's got that greasy sand on his glove, and he's just trying to wipe it on his pants there. But you know what? There's a point in a championship, isn't there, where you just kind of go, yeah, I'm gaining. Then there's like 1 or 2 things that happen. The DNF in Portugal when he was laying second could have possibly been a win, might have been 22 points, we don't know. Then you look at, you know, the qualifying race, or that little incident there, there's 1 or 2 little things. As you're gaining ground and then something trips you up, you just kind of, there's a voice in the back of the head at some point just goes, yeah, the championship's still long, but I'm running out of time.
Right.
Maybe this is not going to be my year, for little things like that.
Yeah, that's the chart. You can't afford mistakes. You have lost the cushion or any margin for error in that situation.
Bobby Bruce.
Yeah. And then to your point, I know there are several riders stateside that always say that it's in your championship year, things just fall your way. Speaking of the Pro Motocross Championship, Hayden Deegan's had that type of season where no matter what happens to him, he still extends his points lead. It's like he can't do no wrong. Even when a mistake's prevalent, the points lead goes up. So we'll see if that plays out here in MXGP.
Two Fantic teammates, the 259, Glenn Koldenoff. He's come from way, way back to get alongside his teammate here, Brian Bogus, and Jeremy Seawer. These guys are going to be fighting over 6. Seawer 6, Bogus 7, Koldenoff 8. Didn't finish. He went out on lap 7 in the RAV qualifying race, did the 259. It was a technical issue, although Louis Fosters did go into more detail with me this morning when I spoke to him. So Glenn Koldenoff, unfortunate in that respect yesterday, not to be able to get a good gate pick. He was running in 10th at the time.
Yeah, but it's hard not to say that two riders in the top 10 is not a huge success here for them. You know, it's a relatively new effort. They're still learning. Of course, they have a lot of technical help, we know, but still, this is a great effort.
So Prado's lead now 16 seconds over Jeffrey Herlings with 9 minutes plus 2 laps to go. You've got to fancy Prado winning this one. There can't be any comeback from Jeffrey Herlings at the moment. 2:09, 2:11 the lap times there, so that's with everything back on track, Jeffrey back in his rhythm, and still a couple of seconds off the pace that time around. Valandren, we've not spoke about Valandren, we've not seen him on screen at the moment. He is 12 seconds behind Herlings and 11 seconds clear of Fevra in third, a rider who had back-to-back podiums at the 2 rounds in Indonesia. Are we going to see Valandren on the podium again this weekend?
So if you're Jeffrey here, you're 16 points down. You know what just occurred. You're running out of time here, 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Do you start to save energy? Do you start thinking about race 2?
Saving energy is not really in his vocabulary, is
Correct,
it?
right.
Although I was surprised when he pulled out of the challenge and the, that position on Valandren a week ago, where he just said, yeah, I'm, just ran out of steam, I was tired, and there was only a couple of corners on the track where maybe you could pass, but it was almost impossible to pass. Yeah. So he was just like, no, that's it, you can have that position. And Valandren held on to third, Jeffrey was fourth. That was in race 2 in Lockett, Czech Republic. But this is a very methodical ride for Calvin Valandren there. And all of a sudden, Jeremy Seawer here, now passed by both Bogus and Valandren. So Bogus now up into 6th. Koldenoff 7, Seawer down to 8.
And you know what it does do? It's the same for Prado when you have this large of a lead. You start thinking about race 2. You can start exploring lines a little bit, opening the corners up, think about what the lines are going to look like for race 2, try different entry angles and things like that without any real risk. It's not ideal. Jeffrey Herlings wants to be in the fight for the win, but you almost have to look for the silver lining. What opportunity is this presenting? Oh, I can save energy. I'll be fresher in race 2 than I was going to be. But yeah, we know Jeffrey is champion. He's going to be angry, but there's still a whole nother race to win, and he could still leave here with the overall win if he could find a way to respond in race 2.
2:12 lap time for Prado, that time around 2:10 for Herlings. The gap is down to 14.3 seconds, but Koldenoff having a go up his teammate here, eyeing him up. So the Hoff digging deep. Bogus, again, stubborn resistance from his fellow countryman.
Well, what's rule 1?
Yeah,
beat your teammate.
This
right?
was Seawer getting passed by Bogus through the trees.
Rider coming in from a off-track excursion. He may have been racing a enduro over there.
And then, of course, just after that, Koldenoff went through as well. And Koldenoff now the lead rider in this group, so he's found his way past his teammate. Koldenoff now up into 6th place. Oh, nervous look over the shoulder there. Telltale sign possibly from Bogus. But this has been impressive from Bogus, hasn't it? Didn't do the first couple of rounds, drafted in round 3 in the deep sand in Sardinia. Without a ride, of course. There were some changes to the team infrastructure. So he wasn't even prepared to go racing. So he's built himself up. And, for Brian Bogus, who, 11th in the championship standings before he came here, still going to be 20 points down on Valentin Guillot. Herlings 10.2, like I said, not in his vocabulary. No. But how much of this now is Prado controlling the race? 2:13.7. Herlings a 2:09.4. Watch this here, yeah, so he just came in hot. He tried to brake. Then the back marker looks back and thinks, oh no, here we go, get me out of here. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, that gentleman may want to ride directly off the racetrack, and wherever his home is, ride there. Stop and get petrol on the way and continue riding.
I think he already has. Anyway, Herlings back up on his feet, back in the race. That was a couple of laps ago. Lap 8, we're now on lap 12. As I said, he won't give up, but he is going to be absolutely fuming underneath that helmet because he knows there was an opportunity there. Because he was just starting to reel in Prado, wasn't he? A couple of seconds here. He had 2 or 3 laps where he was quicker.
He looks really good here. You hate to say it's over, and I don't know that I'm ready to. I will be very interested to see how this next lap time looks.
Okay, Sector 2, fastest of the race, 35.3 compared to the 36.8.
That's a second and a half.
Just in Sector 2.
Sector, yeah.
And the gap down to 8.7 seconds.
Prado puts in another 2:13, and Jeffrey maintains this sprint pace. We may have something here. It's still a lot, and you always wonder, okay, if Prado needs to pick it back up, can he drop? Because one time, if he goes back to a 2:08 one time, I think that's enough. Another 6/10 goes purple in Section 3. Jeffrey is on the limit right now. This is everything he has right now.
Kevin Horgmo has found his way past here as well as he moves into 9th place, but the bullet, well, he's firing on all cylinders at the moment. There's Prado in turn 1. This is the gap that we had. Prado could look across and say, right, if I backed it off, it's difficult to pick that pace back up again when you've got this guy here in full flow.
Yeah, and Prado's in traffic as well, too, which is going to hinder his lap time.
2:07.4, fastest lap of the race, lap 12, which is the same distance as the qualifying race yesterday, and he's down to 5.5 seconds. We've got a race on, folks, and traffic's still there for Prado.
Is 5 seconds a lap faster a lot?
Yeah.
That's my question. Is that a lot?
Well, 5 seconds quicker, and the gap is only 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's incredible.
What a response. We said it's not in his vocab to sit there and just take it on the chin.
Well, the question early on in the race was that 11 seconds? Was that safe? Was Jeffrey feeling? Clearly not. He just closed it from 16 down to 5 in 3 laps. So.
Where's your blue flags when you need them? Because Jeffrey has got a mountain of riders to find his way past there. Monticelli to the inside, but he doesn't get held up here. Fans on their feet. They are urging him on. It's down to 3.3 seconds all of a sudden, halfway around lap 13.
There's a good,
and there's Prado just disappearing out of sight.
There's a good rule here for lappers. If you hear the fans cheering, they're not cheering for you, so get out of the way.
Yeah. Wow, this is exactly what we had at the end of the Ram qualifying race on Saturday. Herlings closing in on Prado. Prado knows he's there. It's down to him now to up his pace. But can he, after sitting back over the last few laps, just saying, yeah, 2:12, 2:13, 2:12.
Well, Jeffrey's on fire here. This is all adrenaline. Right now, in this moment where he sees the lead closing down, this is pure adrenaline.
Listen to that crowd. What an atmosphere we've got here once again. And he is in touching distance. Round the outside, he's not going to get through the inside here. We've got traffic ahead of him, doubling on the... And he goes by! He takes the lead. Wow, Prado, where did that come from? Jeffrey Herlings just launched by Prado there. And he was just a sitting duck. Did he let him have it? Of course not. He couldn't have done.
What is going through Jorge Prado's mind right now?
Wow.
Because he just had a 16-second lead eviscerated in 3 laps.
Watch this here. Look, here's Prado here to the outside. You think, no, he's not going to get through there. But guess what? He does. He doubles his way through. Okay, there was a slight bobble, but he was coming through anyway.
Well, if there was any question about who still is the best hand rider in the world, we're getting an answer right here. The race isn't over. The weekend's not over.
Did he make a mistake?
He's proving right there. But that was an incredible chart. I don't care if he wins or not. That was incredible all the way around. You see, Prado's not done here. I don't know what was going on in the last couple of laps, but he's got his energy back here now.
You know what? It's very easy for Prado to think, you know what? The team were giving me the board signals, 15 seconds, 16 seconds, and all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, 5 seconds in a lap. You know, he could argue that that was down to the team not giving him the right signals, but the pace of this guy here, okay, he locks up here. Prado sees that, and now he's responding. He's going to latch onto the rear wheel. Although, he's losing a little bit of ground here.
Well, surely he could see Jeffrey closing, right? There are areas on the racetrack where you mark someone, you find a section of the racetrack to see where they're coming, and he could hear the crowd, right? So, you know, I don't know, maybe he said that, you know, he could signal that the team didn't give him enough urgency or whatever, but there are also things you have to put on the racer about being aware, understanding the situation, hearing the crowd, sensing the opportunity.
But also, like, a board signal goes out, 15 seconds and then 10 seconds. There's parts on the racetrack where you can look left or right, over a jump, out of a corner, and you see that gap coming down. That is on you to then respond.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But Jeffrey
and maybe
now...
Jorge just couldn't, right? We talked about those laps in the early, like 10 minutes in, when he was dropping down to 208s. That could have been that was his effort, right? He put it all in right there.
That whole back straight through that left-hander there, just before the point of where he just crashed, the part of the racetrack, just watching him put this track together, you could watch that all day long. The way that he's hopping, bouncing, skipping through all that kind of stuff. What an absolute animal this guy is.
Well, we talked about it yesterday. In these sections of the racetrack, he was so much better than Prado. These areas, these X's, the corners, Prado had him covered, but all the rough stuff, and remember, the track's getting rougher and rougher and rougher, which is only coming into Jeffrey's angles of the racetrack.
What's this here? This is the angle. He doubles up on top. No one's getting over that, and that caught Prado absolutely by surprise.
And that's the best he's hit it all day.
Yeah.
That was the best effort he put in, and he surprised. He absolutely surprised Prado there.
I've got friends on the other side of the world watching this, and they've just messaged me now. That was inspiring. Wow, just wow. And I think we're all sitting here in total awe of the display of the Bullet right now.
I really thought the race was over, and that's on me. I was dead wrong. I thought Jeffrey would settle there. I should know better, apparently.
And we said no, and we're not giving up. That's not in his vocabulary, but we also question the fact that, there are things in this championship chase where things just start going the other guy's way, and you think, maybe it's not my turn, it's not my time this year, that 6th title might go begging. But you know what? The way that he has fought, the way that he has dug in, the way that he wants it. If you ask anybody now, who wants this championship the most, you've got your answer right there. 7.8 seconds clear of Jorge Prado. He'll now just say, you know what, let's regroup, save some energy for race 2. But look how challenging this racetrack is. There's only going to be one winner if everything goes to plan, and that's Jeffrey Herlings.
Jeffrey had a crash, and he's going to end up putting a full minute into the championship points leader, Tim Geiser.
Yeah.
That's the power of Jeffrey Herlings in the sand. He's not winning the championship. He's not even in 2nd place in the championship. But on a racetrack like this, I don't know that anyone's ever done it better. I say that, and I know the weight of that statement, but I don't know that there is anybody that's done it better.
Well, Geiser 7.5 seconds down, and obviously Geiser in a 16-point World Championship position at the moment. Jeffrey has done him a favor by taking 3 championship points out of that advantage.
Yeah, well, you think about, okay, if you're Tim Geiser, thank you, Jeffrey. If you're Jeffrey, I just maximize my points. And if you're Jorge Prado, you're thinking, well, I made up points on the leader, right? So they're all going to take something from this.
But Prado could have made 3 more on Geiser.
Absolutely could have, right? And it's all silver linings. It's never going to be perfect. For Jeffrey, he's 50 points out of the lead still, so they all have things they need to work on. But it's funny what you tell yourself to find the positives out of a situation going into race 2.
Well, he's taken a while to get himself up to full speed, Jeffrey Herlings. In the last 8 rounds, he's been on the podium, the only one in the top 3 to be on the podium the last 8 rounds in a row. And this performance here, coming at the right time, you've got to say. And what we are getting, Herlings leading the way. He's gaining 3 points on Jorge Prado, so that's that battle for 2nd place. Prado not getting away at the moment. Valana and Fevre getting in that battle between the top 3, which is what we wanted as a neutral.
Yeah, and Prado dropped to 2:19, so clearly he had enough. This is early on here.
So this was 4th to 3rd behind Calvin Valana, and this was on the opening lap after Seawer made his mistake. Then he gets himself into that position, into 2nd. That was on lap 2. Then he only had one thing on his mind, going for the lead. Boom! He then hits the back marker. It was about 10 seconds down at this point. He picks himself up. At that moment, we think it's all over. So does he. He's frustrated at the back markers. And then a couple of laps ago, doubles up. He's caught Prado at this point, whittled it down. He gained 5 seconds in a lap with a 5-second lap time quicker than Prado. And he didn't even need another lap. So he was on the up, and he's came, he saw, he's conquered. He's on the final lap, and he has a lead of almost 9 seconds over Prado. Impressive is not the word.
That 2:07 that he went, that's not normal human behavior. That's so uncommon.
Well, let's put it into context. We're on the final lap of a 30-minute plus 2-lap race. Jorge Prado put in the fastest lap of the race at one point, a 2:07.994 on lap 1. Jeffrey Herlings on lap 12, 3 laps ago, 2:07.479. That's how big and how deep he's had to dig.
He was almost 10 full seconds quicker than the championship points leader on that lap.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Real. Well, here he is, 3-4 corners away from home. He got a good start, and we thought he was going to probably take the lead earlier on, but Prado, you know what, he made it very, very difficult for him in the first half of the race, didn't he? He got his head down, got his sprint on, pulled some distance between him. Jeffrey wasn't feeling it. He was losing a couple seconds a lap, and you thought, okay, Prado's come out like he wants it the most. Jeffrey Herlings starts to fight back. He goes down, hits a back marker, picks himself up. He's 16 seconds off the lead at that point, and then, guess what? He turns it around, and he comes out of the final turn. Jeffrey Herlings wins race 1 here in Lommel. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no fanfare. His riding did the talking.
Incredible. And if you're a fan out there watching what we've just seen, you cannot deny how impressive that was.
Even if you're a competitor, you have to be impressed by what he just did.
201 career race wins now. Even the team aren't really celebrating down there. They know there's an order of merit now. Get him in, get his helmet off, get him cooled down, get him cleaned up, get some fluid inside him. Yes, he's got to do the post-race interview. It'll work like clockwork down there. Red Bull KTM very, very good at doing that. They've got enough experience. But didn't even wait to congratulate Jorge Prado. You know what? There's no rule that says you have to, because it's warm out there. The track is physically challenging. That crash could have been so much worse. You know, the back marker getting in the way. Here's Tim Geiser, 53 seconds behind your race leader. Decent points, so, for the champ, but having to settle for 5th best in that first race.
Yeah, he won't be thrilled with that. It could have been much worse, but he'll want to keep an eye on that. You don't want to give up huge point swings like that, especially with only 6 rounds to go.
Well, we teased at the start of the race, didn't we? If we have anything like we had in MX2 race 1, then this one will be absolutely incredible. And like you said, buckle up. Well, we buckled up. I'm still strapped to my seat here.
But totally different race, no crashes, really. You know, that wasn't Jeffrey Herlings' fault. It was battling the challenge, but it was a completely different dynamic of a race. Still, all the fireworks we were looking for, but you see the experience of MXGP riders. They understand the track limits, where the MX2 riders were steadily over the track limit almost for 35 minutes consistently.
Well, the championship down to 28 points at the moment between 1st and 2nd place. Tim Geiser and Jorge Prado. Jeffrey Herlings 17 points further back. Game on in the championship. Here's Jeffrey Herlings. What a race. Here he is with Lisa.
Jeffrey Herlings, wow, wow, wow. Prado had a 17-point lead. You still made the pass. You still got a win. That was a historical moment for our sport.
Yeah, definitely, because I actually hit my knee quite bad with the lap rider. Was blue flags, and like always, they don't really pay attention to it. Actually, they should get disqualified to get point reduction for this, because they cleaned out the 2nd place rider. So anyway, it was good. Finished first. Our start was quite good, 3rd. Took my time at the beginning. I was like, okay, let's the 15-minute, last 15 try to sprint. And obviously, they made it difficult with my crash, but still came back and won. So track is really rough, but hopefully save enough energy for Moto 2, and going to look at my knee and then hopefully be as good as I can in Moto 2.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Barely broke a sweat. The guy's not even out of breath. Wow.
Frustrated, though.
Yeah.
Well, can you take points away from a rider that didn't get points?
I don't know.
We'll ask
yellow
later.
flag rules. Jeffrey Herlings then wins race 1 by 10.3 seconds. Barely breaks a sweat, barely out of breath, and he's hoping that he's saved enough energy for race 2. All right. There's nothing in that performance says that he's going to be hanging as he goes to the gate in race 2. His 9th race win of the year, his 201st race victory. Jeffrey Herlings, your winner here in Lommel. I'm still trying to be pulled off the ceiling here, because that was just absolutely incredible, insane. Should we take a look at the highlights before we see the results? Apologies if I sound a little bit flat now. Let's go take a look at these highlights. So the start of MXGP race 1 then, and it was Jorge Prado who shot to the front. His 13th Vauxhall shot of the season. Seawer right there behind him in 2nd. Guadagnini ran wide, but Flanders just there in 2nd. Gets nudged wide by the Kawasaki. Herlings emerged in 4th. Geiser was there behind him in 5th place. And so too Horgmo, Bogus. But what a race that unfolded after that. Geiser getting up the inside here. Just running into problems. Then Seewer ran wide from second. Verlanen up to third. Herlings went with him as he moved into third place. And then Fevre getting the better of Tim Geiser. That was for 6th place on lap 2. Herlings then found his way into second with that move on Kevin Verlanen, but by then that gap was still increasing between him and the race leader, Jorge Prado.
Yeah, and you just wonder, where was his effort level there? Was he just biding his time? Because he certainly had so much more in the tank, and sometimes you just get into the zone. Like, once he found his rhythm, you could say he was angry, you could say whatever. He looks so much different than he does here early in the race.
Yeah, Romain Fevre was on the charge. He found his way past the 189 of Bogas, and then his teammate Jeremy Seewer. That put him up into 4th. Geiser also went by as well, put himself into 5th. That was on lap 5. And then what we thought was a game-changer moment in the race. Herlings charging back towards Prado, collided with a lap rider, and at that point when he got going, he was 16 seconds down on Jorge Prado, and that was on lap 8. This, though, 5 laps later, the pass for the lead on Jorge Prado, it whittled down that disadvantage. And from there, he thought he'd just run away with it. He had this slight mistake as he was on that charge, trying to get away from Prado, who tried to keep him honest for the next lap or so. But in the end, that challenge fell flat. Herlings, a 10.3 second race winner over Jorge Prado. Verlanen, Fevre and Geiser ran it out the top 5. We'll give you those results now then. After 16 laps, Jeffrey Herlings, his fastest lap coming on lap 12, a 2:07.4. He picks up the 25 points. Prado second, Verlanen third, Fevre, Geiser, Koldenhoff, Horgmo in 7th, Andrea Bonacorsi in 8th. So both the Yamaha guys there. That was a good showing from Bonacorsi actually, because he looked a little bit out of sorts in the Ram race yesterday. Bogas 9, Seewer 10. Then Tom Cock, Albi Ferrato, Pat Chirel, Conrad Muse, Max Spies, Mattia Guadagnini, Brent Van Donnick, Kevin Brumman, Adam Sterry, and the 5:21 there of Boris Blanken. Good old Bozza. Championship chase, though, that is very, very interesting now, isn't it? Because 28 points between first and second, 17 behind is Jeffrey Herlings in third. Let's take a look at the foxhole shot. And Jorge Prado, once again, finding his way. He had a bit of a dry period, didn't he? Because he didn't have one since Majora race 2. Nothing in the Indonesian rounds. Got one in race 2 in Lockett. So back-to-back for the first while in a long time for Jorge Prado. A little bit frustrated there as well. You've got to imagine, the score report will say he must try harder. But that was still an impressive ride.
Probably wondering what happened.
Yeah. Shell-shocked, I think, is the term you'd use.
Absolutely.
Like everybody sitting on the bank watching, if you're a Herlings fan, you're just like, yeah, everybody else is like, what have we just seen? Anyway, let's take a look at some of the best moments. These riders were nice and relaxed, some of them, before the start of the race. Tim Geiser just going through his moments. Jorge Prado will just, yeah, we'll see what happens, whatever. Conrad Muse there. And Albi Ferrato. But I don't think that calm, we said the calm before the storm, before the gates dropped, as we saw the fans just taking their seats or whatever. You know, it's a nice day out here at the beach, isn't it? Sun cream, ice cream, a little bit of liquid refreshment. But it's not a holiday, and it wasn't a holiday for these riders. That gate dropped, and it was pure torture.
Yeah, this is as tough as it gets in this sport, I believe, this racetrack. Conditions, great. Weather, great. Racetrack, as challenging as you will find on planet Earth.
Few riders disappearing out the back door there. Guadagnini, one of those riders, getting caught as well in turn 2. Tim Geiser, you know what? That was a methodical ride from Geiser. We probably see a little bit more from him in race 2, but what we thought was going to happen didn't quite play out like that. The coach there. Yeah. That was the difference.
He has to be happy with Jeffrey's effort.
That was the difference right there. Anyway, we're going to take a break. Join us in just over an hour's time. We'll be back for MX2 and MXGP Race 2. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then. Bye for now.